With San Francisco's speedster wide receiver and Jacob Cowing injuring his hamstring, they had a clear need for a slot wide receiver that could really take the top off of the defense, so they went out and signed the former second-round selection, Andy Isabella. And instantly, he's one of San Francisco's fastest players, running his 40-yard dash in 4.31 seconds and his 10-yard split in 1.45 seconds. And so far at the NFL level, he has really been able to use that speed to get behind defenses and make massive plays for his team. On top of that, he also offers special teams versatility for San Francisco as a punt return and kick return specialist, so that will be an interesting competition to watch. But to really examine the player that Andy Isabella is, I did want to go over some of his film, go over strengths, his weaknesses, as well as his career up to this point to really determine his chances of making San Francisco's 53-man roster as a 28-year-old. Initially starting out, the first thing that really stands out on Isabella's film is his speed. Here going against the Eagles, for instance, Isabella is running a pretty simple go pattern and he hesitates just a little bit here and the defensive back responds, Isabella knows it, and then later on his route, he's able to create more separation because of this hesitation. Another thing about Isabella, because he's a smaller wide receiver, coming in right around 5'8", weighing 185 pounds, he has the ability to really dust bigger linebackers. Here on this play, for instance, Isabella does a great job of faking this little curl route, and as soon as the linebacker jumps on it, he continues down the field on this drag pattern, the quarterback connects with him, then he does a great job on the yards after the catch, finding his way up the field using his 4.31 second 40. In a similar way here going against the Eagles, I want to focus on Isabella's ability to create separation coming out of his break. He's going to be running a deep crosser, but focus on how he places one foot into the ground and immediately is coming out of his break. He creates almost 3-4 yards of separation, and if the quarterback was able to find him on this play, it could have gone for a massive gain. In a similar way here going against San Francisco on this in-breaking route, he's able to create a ton of separation between him and this defensive back, and once he does get the ball in his hands, he's off to the races. I love his ability to really navigate open space like he does right here. He cuts it back on the defense hard, and at that point, no one's going to catch him. While mainly so far I've been focusing on Isabella's ability to really burn teams, I also like his ability underneath. Here going against the Chiefs, for example, he does a nice job of once again kind of creating separation by acting like he might break out hard, and as soon as this Chiefs defensive back jumps on his route, he's able to create just enough separation and brings down this ball. Then once again, he's turning up the field to really maximize this gain. Another major strength Isabella offers for Kyle Shanahan's offense is the versatility. He can play both outside and inside. Here playing for the Cardinals on the outside, for instance, Isabella is running an in-breaking route against his Rams zone defense, and he does a great job of creating separation, but more so on this play what I want to focus on is his ability to adjust to this ball. It's thrown behind him, but nevertheless, he's able to stop on the dime, adjust his body, and make this acrobatic catch. Outside of his ability as just a wide receiver, maybe equally as important for his chances of making San Francisco's 53-man roster is his ability to block. And even though Isabella is a smaller wide receiver, so sometimes defensive backs can overpower him, he does show off a great willingness. Here going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, for instance, his block really sprung this Josh Allen touchdown. Outside of Isabella's ability as a wide receiver, his ability as a return specialist and a special teams player will also make him a real asset for San Francisco's 53-man roster. Right now, for instance, he's competing for the punt return and kick return duties, and in the past for both the Bills and the Cardinals, he proved to be a real asset as a gunner for the punt return unit. With all those strengths being mentioned about Isabella though, there are some reasons why he won't make San Francisco's 53-man roster, with probably the biggest being his struggle against press man coverage. I think that's the biggest reason he hasn't worked out yet at the NFL level. His smaller stature makes it extremely challenging for him to beat press man coverage. In a similar way in his blocking, while he is willing, sometimes because he is a smaller player, he can be overpowered there. It's also worth noting, like San Francisco's other wide receivers, Isabella has struggled with lower body injuries throughout his career. They haven't been extremely serious, but they've been hamstrings and things like that. But even with these strengths and weaknesses mentioned, to fully understand the player that is Andy Isabella, I did want to briefly break down his career up to this point, to finally conclude on his chances of making San Francisco's 53-man roster. When we were first introduced to Andy Isabella, for instance, he was a two-sport athlete playing both football and track at Mayfield High School in Mayfield, Ohio. And as a senior, Isabella won the state title in the 100-meter dash, beating fellow sprinter Denzel Ward, who eventually played cornerback for the Cleveland Browns. It's also worth noting Andy Isabella has a pretty interesting trajectory as an NFL wide receiver, as during his high school career, he was mainly a running back. But honestly, Kyle Shanahan loves this positional flexibility and really understands how to use these offensive gadget type of players. Back to Isabella's high school career though, after his senior season, he was ranked as a 3-star recruit and had offers from UMass as well as a couple of other schools, but ultimately decided to enroll at UMass and was recruited to play running back. And as a true freshman for UMass as a running back, he was a special teams contributor, starting in 1 game, playing in 10. The following year during his sophomore season, he transitioned full-time to a wide receiver, and during that year, he started in 10 games, played in 12, registered 801 receiving yards as well as 7 touchdowns. The following year as a junior, he played and started in all 12 games, registered 1,020 receiving yards as well as 10 touchdowns, and even had a kickoff return for a touchdown. His true breakout year though came as a senior during the 2018 season, where he led the entire country in receiving yards per game with 141.5, and he was also the highest graded wide receiver according to PFF, earning a grade of 93.2. On top of that, he was a first-team All-American as a senior after starting and playing in all 12 games, registering 1,698 receiving yards as well as 13 touchdowns, and he also added a touchdown on the ground this year as well. So after this prolific UMass career, he decided to enter the 2019 NFL Draft, and at his combine, he ran that blistering fast 4.31 second 40-yard dash, and I think maybe more impressively was his 10-yard split coming in at 1.45 seconds, and he also put up the bench press 15 times despite coming in at 5'9", weighing 188 pounds. After this insane combine performance, Andy Isabella was widely considered one of the better prospects in this entire class, especially for teams looking for a deep threat option. And that's why, with the Cardinals sitting there in round 2 with pick 30, they decided to pick up the speedster out of UMass in Andy Isabella, and during his time with the Cardinals, he was actually somewhat productive. During his rookie campaign with the Cardinals in 2019, for instance, he played in 15 games, had 189 receiving yards, and averaged 21 yards a reception, and even had 1 touchdown on the year. The following year in 2020, he continued his upward trajectory, had 224 yards receiving, as well as 2 touchdowns on the year. The following year in 2021, though, Isabella really fell off. That year for the Cardinals, he only had a total of 13 receiving yards, so during the 2022 season, they decided to cut him. He found his way onto the Ravens, and during the 2023 season, he found his way onto the Buffalo Bills before signing with UFL last year, and now he's finally found his way to San Francisco. And honestly, this is probably the best position he's been in his entire career. He has a lot of opportunities ahead of him, and if he is able to make an impact on the special team side of the ball, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see him make San Francisco's 53-man roster, especially early on in the season. If not, I definitely could see San Francisco trying to sneak Isabella onto their practice squad and then elevating him early on in the season while players like DeMarcus Robinson and Brandon Ayuk are out. But ultimately, these are just some of my thoughts on San Francisco signing Andy Isabella, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you did enjoy this video to go ahead and like and subscribe. It truly helps out the channel a ton, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.